I'm Wolfgang Roth, the boss of CMM Marketing and Promotion. We promote and market bands, companies. We sitting here in Miami Beach, getting ready for the 12th cruise. We were involved in the planning even before the first cruise started. So we do all over Europe, all press. We handle interviews, meet and greets, and all that kind on the ship. And throughout the year, we do the marketing plans with advertising, co-ops, all kind of stuff in Europe for 70,000 tons. Then we do since 25 years almost, Iron Maiden. We belong to the family and do new albums, press tours, etc. We do Trans-Siberian Orchestra for Europe. We did from Motorhead to Whitesnake, Dio. We have a system called SAOL, which means Service for Artisan Labels, where we give smaller, meanwhile even more bigger bands, all the service what a label does, but they keep their rights, which includes distribution, physical and digital, promotion and marketing. We had bands like Seven Spires. One of the first bands we worked with was Cripper, and bands from Australia, from Brazil, from Puerto Rico, from Germany, from Canada. We try to be, beside a business partner, be the friends of the bands, try to help them. We preparing the new solo album for Bruce Dickinson. While working with Maiden, we did all the Bruce stuff. I did his book. We did the solo album, Adrian Smith and Smith Kotzen. We do consulting for festivals. Late 90s, early 2000s, we worked like 8-10 years for Wacken. Almost smaller festival was 15,000, and when our contract ended, it was 45, 50. So now we're doing Rock Hearts, one of the upcoming festivals, and they sold out with 25,000, and they grow on purpose very slow. They say we don't want to grow fast because we want to keep the family feeling. We are like the press agency for EMP, which is the biggest mail order in Europe. We have a time where record companies, due to streaming, etc., very often don't invest in bands. They sign bands, but their commitments on marketing and PR are very low. But they collect in the rights for years, which is sometimes very difficult for the band. So if the band is not proactive on their own and they don't have an idea what to do, sometimes they're lost. And wow, it's about 15 years ago when we started that, because bands came to us and said, can you do PR for us? And they said, wow, if you don't have a record deal, we ended up in the demo zone, even with our connections. So we set up this system where we found a physical distributor, we found a digital distributor. So we have all that, what a label does on our end, but we do it as a service company for the band. So they keep their rights. On the other end, after they take the risks, they pay us for doing that. So if they very successful, they have the whole thing. If they're not, it is what it is. We'll try to help them to find an agent, because we are not a booking agency, and try to find ways to make them bigger. We always have a chance to get at least one band on 70K and maybe on a festival here and there, so that helps. By knowing loads of agents and tour promoters, sometimes we find a support slot. We'll try to consult them what to do, because very often they don't have an idea what is the other side of the music business. They play well, but business is a total different thing. So send us an email with music, with the background, with your socials, and let's start talking. And then we'll see if if there is a chance to do something, then we work together with the band to make a plan. What we do some budget, see if they can reach that, because you don't get those things for free, and you need some money for all kinds of stuff. And especially if you want to go on a support tour, you need money for that, etc. And but it's what we learned, like the bands who really made the next step. It's the PR and all the stuff we do is not only for a record sale. It lifts up the profile. And we had bands, when they started working with us, they get in like a local fee of whatever, 200-300 euros or dollars. And their merchandise sales were poor. And then after a year or whatever working with them, so they got 1,500, 2,000. And their merchandise sales went up together. So it's not only counting by record sales, it's the whole profile. And if the profile is better, you're in the press and in the media, agents look at you and maybe consider you to get in them on one of their tours. So that's what the benefit out of that is. And the key part, if there's a big record company waving with some big bucks, then it's your rights. You can move. Simple. We have a team which we have the office part with accounting and all that, others the tax, which is more eternal. Then we have 2-3 people who are really good copywriters. That's what we do when we work for companies, but we write a good biography, a good press release, etc., which I still believe is so important if you approach people. It's not like by just writing something, I have the greatest band in the world. That doesn't help. So we do that. We got people specialized in press all over Europe, in social media, in online, radio, and sometimes even TV, which doesn't occur very often on small bands, but at least on the big bands. And so we have a great network to all important parts in the business. The whole business changed so much that I learned over the years, and with some bands it's still like from the old guys, they say, oh, we have a record deal. Now we don't have to do anything else besides making music, and that's not the case. We try to work together with bands, and they have to be proactive. And we give them advice to do what they should do. We are an add-on. If the band itself doesn't work, our chances are low, or it's very expensive to do that, because it's working hours you put in, and you need to pay people, and that's simple. I worked for a city council when I was very young. And probably I would be some officer in a city hall if I would be there, but I changed when I was pretty young, I think like 25, 26. And I got the chance for a bigger German band to the management. They built a studio, and I did the studio management, and then we did all kinds of stuff. I worked with loads of blues guys like John Mayall and Eric Burden, and then with Joe, we were touring throughout Europe, and I learned a lot on that thing. And when that was finished in 87, we started doing other things. I even did like disco stuff, Eruption, one-way ticket, maybe you remember that. Then I learned I saw there's a huge lack in freelance PR, because record companies didn't cover that much. So we started in 89 as a promotion agency. Before, I did 2 years in Hamburg and was doing the program and shows in the 2 big clubs in Hamburg, Große Freiheit and Docks. In 89, we started with CMM, which means we are 35 years now. I had loads of people who were trainees with me, which meanwhile are competitors, but we're still friends with most of them. And so I teach them how to do. First band or bigger band at CMM was a German band called Axis. The EMI came to me due to the experience with Joe Cocker and said, can you do that? And we sold 100,000 units with a debut hard rock metal album. So that was when it started, that I became the stamp on my forehead as metal guy. Then we did a deal with SPV on Steamhammer. We promoted every band they had on the label. I even brought people in. We started working with Savatage, so I brought them, and through Savatage it came up that we work with TSO, which is still going on. So that's, I think that started 96, 97, and it's still going on. Halloween, which were managed by Sanctuary at that time, we started doing the solo album for Bruce Dickinson when he was separated from Maiden. And when the reunion was in 2000, we did the first reunion album, Brave New World, and we worked with Maiden since. I think every album is gold so far. We got the last 4, 5, 6 all went to #1 in Germany, even against heavy competition. So that's a very strong relationship. For now, we're preparing the Bruce Dickinson next solo album, and I hope we get at least a top 3. When EMP came up, was looking for a press agency, we did that, and it's a permanent development, which is always a challenge, and that what keeps me busy. I have a great team, and I think we some kind of a family. That's where we get the power to do things. That keeps me going. And even if I sometimes think about retiring, I say, well, I'm going to do that. It's like working a little less might be good. There's many things the team took over. So Sonia, she is my head of promotion. It's like she's handling everything on the boat, what goes with interviews and meet and greets. So I'm just overlooking that. I don't have to get involved too deep, which is great. So if you're a band, an organization, a festival, or whatever, or even a smaller label who needs help in PR, marketing, whatever in Europe, get in touch with us and let's find out if we can work together.